Hi everyone, welcome to the Tiny Studio. It's your girl Nail, and welcome to Simply Nail's Tiny Studio here on YouTube. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm in the Tiny Studio working. I have a lap gown that I'm beginning to work on for a client. So I'm just sitting here in the Tiny Studio working. I'm getting ready to make this chain to begin the lap gown, and I wanted to hop on here because I wanted to talk to you guys about something, especially I just want to get your opinion and see what you think about what I'm going to talk about today. And I was going to start this chain with as a double crochet, or as a single chain, but I'm going to make a double crochet foundational chain. And if you're not familiar with what that is, then I think I'm going to do a video to show people how to make a double crochet foundational chain, because I really like it. Because when you make a double crochet foundational chain, what you're doing is you are beginning your foundation row and first row at the very same time, and that's a cool thing. Well, it's a cool thing to me to do that. So that's what I'm working on right now. The reason that I came on today to talk to you, because this is not crocheting with Nail, even though I am crocheting at this time. But what I wanted to talk about was, if you don't already know, the trailer or the actual docuseries for or about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle has dropped on Netflix, and I'll be checking it out later on tonight. But as I was, strolling down these internet streets, I saw a clip from that series, that docuseries, and it's of Meghan Markle speaking, and she's talking about something that I thought that I would like to share with you, and I'd like to share my thoughts about it, but also get your opinion on it, because I had to watch it, I think maybe about 3 times, because I wanted to make sure that I heard what I heard. And I didn't want to make any implications or be judgmental. I wanted to, without making sure that I got it right. So I'm going to read this quote to you that Meghan Markle says, or that she says in the series, and then let's talk about it. So this is what she said. I took notes. She said, it's very different to be a minority, but not be treated as a minority off the bat. People are very aware of my race because they made it such an issue when I went to the UK. But before that, most people didn't treat me like a black woman. So that talk didn't happen for me. Let me read that again, because it's so much that I want to say about this statement that she made in her docuseries. So let me see if you are following. Let me read it to you again, and then let's vibe on this, okay? Again, she says, it's very different to be a minority, but not be treated as a minority off the bat. People are very aware of my race because they made it such an issue when I went to the UK. But before that, Most people didn't treat me like a black woman. So that talk didn't happen for me. So when I saw that clip, like I said, I had to watch it again because I found it very problematic. I found it very problematic and confusing. Now, as you know, Meghan Markle is the offspring of a black mother and a white or Caucasian father. So, which means that she's biracial. When she says most people didn't treat me like a black woman, what does she mean? What is she talking about? And then when she says that the talk never happened, she says that her parents didn't talk to her about being biracial or being a black woman because she didn't present as black. She presented as a Caucasian child, so they figured they didn't have to have the talk with her. You know, it's so much about that those few sentences, that one paragraph, of a collective of 4 to 5 or 4 to 6 sentences that's very problematic for me and makes me say I'm confused. So and it makes me want to ask more questions. Do you understand? I want to ask more questions. And one of those questions that I would ask Meghan Markle, if I had the opportunity to, I would want her to clarify what she meant by the statement that most people didn't treat me like a black woman. What does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean what I think it means? Being that perhaps she's been passing all of these years, and then when she went over to Europe, you know, they obviously didn't allow her to pass. The issue that she has a black mother and a white father was problematic, or the fact that she has a black mother was problematic for the people in the royal family, allegedly, or, you know, in Great Britain or the UK, period. What is she talking about? And when she says that her parents never spoke to her or talked to her about being a little black girl, why was that? Is that true? I would like to speak to Meghan's mother as well. Did you raise your child in a country where the rule, one drop of blood makes you black, was the law? Did you actually raise the child that you bore to believe that she was a white woman or a white girl? Did you raise your daughter to pass? Is what I'm saying. Now listen, I don't have anything I want to say this in a way that it's not offensive. But when I look at Meghan Markle, I see a black woman. I see a light-skinned black woman. So I'm confused. Even those pictures of Meghan Markle as a child, you could readily tell that she was just a light-skinned black woman, right? Because she is half black. So what I'm confused about, if this is so, why wouldn't Meghan's parents, especially her mother, not prepare her for this country's attitudes and viewpoints on racism? This country is steeped in many, many different. This country is rooted in racism. Period. This country, North America, the islands of North America, South America, Central America, these areas are rooted historically, problematically in racism. Okay? Period. So Meghan Markle's mother, who's I can't recall her name at this time, she never talked to her daughter about racism. The racism that she could possibly face here in America or anywhere. Her mother raised her as what? As a white child? See, that right there, and you know, I don't like to make implications, and I don't like to pass judgment on people without having all the facts. But those, how many sentences was that? 1, 2, 3. Those 4 to 6 sentences that made up that paragraph of what she stated in the Netflix series, docuseries about her life and Prince Harry's life and their life in the UK are very, very problematic for me and insulting a little bit. What does she mean by the statement that, but before that, most people didn't treat me like a black woman? So they treated you as a white woman and you accepted that. So in other words, you were passing here in the US or attempting to pass here in the United States. And when you say that you wasn't treated like a black woman, so you was passing here. But when you got to the UK, they would not allow you to pass. So while you were here in the States, you used your skin color as some sort of privilege. You took on white privilege for yourself, so you didn't have to be treated like a black woman. And when you got over to Europe or to the UK, they wasn't playing that. You couldn't use your white privilege over there. And because of that, you had a problem, made it a problem for your husband, and then you guys severed ties with the royal family, so to speak, and moved your happy butts over here to the United States, where you can pass. I mean, is that where we are? I mean, do you, my tiny studio guest, is that the perception that you have received from listening to me read that statement to you from a clip from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Netflix docuseries? I mean, are you getting that same vibe too? You know, it's to me, it's really interesting. It's so many moving parts to that statement, because I'm thinking, first of all, I hate to say it, but if you're telling the truth about your mom set you up for quite a disappointment. She set you up for a fall. And we need to ask her some questions. Why would you, a brown skinned woman like me, with locks, with dreadlocks, like me, why would you set your child up, even though she is white presenting, why would you send her out into the world believing that she is something, believing that she was something that she definitely is not? That's number one. Why would you sit back and agree to your daughter using her white skin as some sort of white privilege, as a white privilege cloak? Why would you not prepare her for the fallout that did eventually happen over in the UK when the white privilege card or cloak that she used here, it was absolutely not going to protect her over there? So when Meghan gets over to Europe and she's treated like a black woman, then there's a problem. I mean, are you guys following me here? Because I think this is so very, very, very problematic. And I'm getting this thing in my mind where I can understand a little bit the reason why maybe she's not liked by Prince Harry's family. Because maybe she thought that passing wasn't going to be an issue for them. I mean, you go to the seat of white supremacy in the world, the seat of white supremacy, the foundation of white supremacy, which is in the UK, by the way. That whole royal family situation, that's the seat of white supremacy. You go to the seat of white supremacy expecting them to look at you as a white woman when it is clear that you are not. You expect them to treat you like a white woman when it is clear that you are not. And these people over there, they go by your genealogy. So they didn't have to shake that tree too far. They didn't have to shake the tree too far. They didn't even have to shake the tree. All they had to do was look at your mom. Your mom is black. And you thought for some reason that because you were white presenting, that the people in the UK was just going to eat you up and going to embrace you and love you, that the royal family was going to accept you. And then when the opposite happened, then it's like, oh, Harry, we got to go. Oh, Harry, we need to pack up and leave. Because I can't take it. People are treating me like a black woman. People are treating me like I'm black. But you are black. So you go over to the UK, you get married to this man, and then all these things start happening to you. The things that happen to us black women on a regular begin to happen to you on a regular. And because you have wrapped yourself in the cloak of white privilege, because you are basically passing, either consciously or subconsciously, you're passing. You can't believe this is happening to you. You're like, you have the audacity to believe that these people over there in the UK, the seat of white supremacy, is going to treat you like you're family, like you're part of the group, when it's obvious that you're not. But for some reason, you believe that you are, because you've been passing all this time. So you tell your husband, I don't appreciate being treated like this. What did you tell Harry exactly? Harry, I don't appreciate being treated like a black woman. Harry, I've never undergone this type of prejudice and racism at all in my life. I'm slightly baffled. Listen, I'm confused. I'm baffled myself. Because see, for me, that answers a lot of questions. You know, that answers a lot of questions for me. So, you guys ran from the UK over here. Because over in the UK, they had the audacity to treat you like, basically, I've heard, allegedly, they treated all black people with some level of prejudice and discrimination. Racism is alive in the UK, according to the brothers and sisters who live there. I mean, what did she really think? She thought that her white presenting cloak was just going to invisibly make her a white woman, and nobody was going to question it. Nobody was going to have a problem with that. And let's say that they did have a problem with it. That's their problem. But because you want to be viewed as a white woman, because you want to continue to pass, you were highly offended and upset that they would even see you as black, as a black woman. Aha, now I get it. So you ran and you had your husband, you know, throw in the towel as far as being a prince and, you know, having all that royal stuff going on. You threw all of that aside just because they would not see you as you saw yourself, or as your mother saw you, as a white girl, as a white woman. But you're not. So you guys hightail it, lose privileges and all that stuff, and you hightail it to America. Child, if I was you, I'd have stayed over there. I'd have been living in those castles. My kids would have been Prince so-and-so and Princess so-and-so. They sure would have. But see, that's on you. That's on you, sis. So the whole time, you was the problem. It wasn't the people in the UK. It was you. You the problem. Because you went over there thinking that those people would not know that you was a black woman. I mean, Tiny Studio guests, y'all tell me if I'm barking up the wrong tree. Because that's what I got from that statement. That's what I get from that statement. And it doesn't make sense to me. So much of this doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And I would like to ask Meghan's mother some questions. You raised your daughter as a white girl? Well, then this is on your head too. You let your daughter go over to the seat of white supremacy, believing that she was a white woman and no one was going to tell? That people are just going to accept her? When they don't really have to shake the tree to see that there is a black woman over there? I don't understand. None of this is making sense to me. Is it making sense to you, my Tiny Studio guests? I don't know. Maybe I'm ultra sensitive, as I should be, because I'm a black woman. And when she said, but before that, most people didn't treat me like a black woman. The audacity! The audacity! What in the world does that mean? I'm a black woman. I'm speaking up for all the black women. What does that mean? You mean treated with disdain? You mean disrespected? Overlooked? Ignored? Trampled upon? Spit upon? viewed as a workhorse, a sexual object. Is that what she mean? Listen, I got to get back to doing what I have to do in the tiny studio here. I done got myself all upset. I've got myself all upset. I done got myself all upset over something that at the end of the day is not really important in my life, because I have things going on here that far, far exceeds a young woman. I was getting ready to say a little girl who has been passing for white all this time. I have so many things going on in my world and in my life that, you know, this is not one of the things that's going to make or break me. But I had to come to Tiny Studio to talk about that, because I just want to know, am I the only one that feels like this? And I mean, black women, we cape for her. Okay? Black women cape for that girl, that woman. And for her, and then for her to turn right around and, you know, SHIT on us like that. Let me read that to you again. But before that, most people didn't treat me like a black woman. And you have a black mother. You are a black woman, sis. You are a black woman. So problematic. I'm just going to tell you that. This whole thing is very problematic. And Meghan, you got some soul searching to do. You took that boy away from his family, or convinced him to move away from the UK, move away from his family. You know, you convinced him to come over here to America because you couldn't take the heat of racism. And we black women here in America, we've been going through all kinds of hell for how many years since we've been here? And you go over to the UK for a hot second and run because they're treating you like a black woman. I'm hot about it. I don't know if I'm just hot or if I'm having a hot flash. But I'm really hot about it. But I had to hop in the tiny studio and talk to you guys about that. In other news, real quick, I just want to say, yay, I'm so glad that Brittney Griner is on her way home. She was released this morning from hell, also known as Russia, after spending 294 days being so-called detained. Then she had that kangaroo trial, and then she was in prison, and they sent her to some work camp over in Siberia, I heard. So big ups to the Biden administration for getting Brittney Griner released. Big ups to her wife. I think her wife's name is Sherelle. Big ups to her for making this public. Okay? Because for a while, we didn't know Brittney Griner was in jail, because I think Sherelle said that the Defense Department or the security, Homeland Security, or somebody up in some government official wanted her to keep silent about what was going on with Brittney Griner, with her wife. So she just decided to go public with it. And if she hadn't gone public with what's going on with Brittney, if she hadn't gone public and alerted us to what was going on with Brittney Griner, Brittney would still be Brittney will be over there chopping what? It's winter over there. She'll be out there shoveling snow, whatever they do over there in Siberia in those conditions. You've seen the movies about Russian prisons, and especially how they send you over there to those prison camps in the dead of winter where it's really at the coldest in Siberia somewhere. You know, shoot. I'm glad that she's coming home. And that's another thing. Brittney Griner, black woman, lesbian, you know they was taking her through some changes over there in Russia. And when she gets home, I hope her wife has a therapist on hand, because Brittney Griner is going to need some serious therapy time. And I'm sure that when she gets a break, I'm sure she will be writing a book about it. And I will definitely read it. I sure will. Okay, so I'm sitting here still working on the chain, and I'm doing the double crochet foundational chain on this project. So that means I'll not only have the chain, the foundation chain, but I'll also have the first row completed at the same time. So, and that's why I like double crochet. And I like half double crochet foundational chains, because you know you're getting started and you're getting that first row done at the same time. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today in the tiny studio. I'm going to continue to do what I do. I want to get this project done, and then I'm drinking coffee, and then later on this evening, my husband and my children and we're going to go out to a really nice Japanese restaurant for dinner. My husband is going through chemo, so he wanted to take us all out to dinner today, because you know he has his next infusion, a second infusion tomorrow. So you know that's going to be a lot for him, and he wanted to take us out and to show us that he appreciates us and that he loves us, and he wants to thank us for supporting him. And you know, we're just going to get together as a family, and we're just going to love on him and give him all the support and love that we need, and we're going to treasure quality family time, because that's what it's really all about, right? Family over everything. Do you not agree? All right then, so I'm going to finish this, and I'm going to check on hubby, and I will see you next time here in the tiny studio. Do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, child, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe, and do not forget to get it popping down in the comment section. I would really love to know what you think about this, and if possible, go and look that trailer up. I saw it on, first time I saw it was on Instagram, but look it up and you'll see the trailer, or you'll see a clip about what I was talking with Meghan Markle making the statement that I read to you, and just let me know what you think. You know, I love getting other people's opinions and commentary on certain things, because it's really an eye-opener. It helps me to process certain things and not be so, you know, judgmental. You know, that's something that I'm working on that has a lot to do with religiosity, being judgmental, and so I'm working on not being judgmental and being open-minded. So go ahead and let me know what your opinion is, and I'll see you next time here in the tiny studio. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to head over to Instagram at at Nails Tiny Studio or Blue Lotus Heel Designs, and you can follow me over there and keep up with what I'm doing here in the Tiny Studio. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm your girl Nail, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.